Hello, my name is Rafael, Rivadeneira, and I am a conservative Republican running for the state rep race. I am a son of Cuban immigrants, and I was raised on the north side of Chicago in Rogers Park. I'm a small business owner and a dad of 3 wonderful children that go to Timothy Christian schools, and I'm a member of Elmhurst Christian Reformed Church. As a small business owner, I'm also struggling to pay our monthly mortgage and healthcare expenses that keep on rising. And I have a great understanding of what it is to meet that end nut, if you will. And I have that expertise in trying to slash spending, and that's what I bring to this race. I also, like most voters of the 41st District, I'm very fed up with our Republican establishment that is going along with Democrats, raising our taxes, spending our money, and indebting generations to come. And that's one of the reasons why I'm running in this race. I'm a true conservative that it's endorsed by many conservative organizations, including the Federation for Right to Life, the National Taxpayers United for Illinois, and conservatives, Illinois conservatives. And I'm not endorsed by the Republican establishment. Yeah, I think the first thing we have to do when looking at the Illinois' budget is enacting more transparency. Right now, there's so much pork that is being spent that many people do not know where the money is going, why it gets in there. The more transparent we can make our budgeting process, the more open that will be to scrutiny. And I'm positive that voters will not put up with the pork if they know it's being spent. Now, having said that, nothing will change if we continue electing Republicans that are backed by the same Republicans that are part of this spending. The same Republicans that voted to raise our taxes. In DuPage, we had 3 Republican state senators voting to raise the state sales tax that bailed out the CTA. And that spending not only dropped our bond rating, but then 1 year later, the CTA is still a mess, and nothing's changed. We can't be enablers to bad business and patronage. We have to stop the spending because we don't have any money. The only way we could stop this is electing candidates that aren't beholden to the special interests that are financing some of my opponents' campaigns. Now, on top of that, healthcare costs and pension funding, if you visit my website, which is www.voterafael.com, I have drawn a very stark contrast in how I would lead, and that is by putting my ideas on paper, if you will, showing people $90 million worth of cuts that I would take out of the budget immediately. I would also, next week or two, I'm going to be putting up more spending cuts that we have to put out there. Now, some of these decisions are sometimes tough, and some people think that it's not a good idea. You have to leave. I hear that you have to give yourself some wiggle room. I am not going to give myself wiggle room. I am a spending cutter. I'm a tax cutter, and I'm going to hold firm on my pledge to cut spending. That's what dropped our bond rating, and that's what we have to eliminate is the excess spending. Leave it to the establishment candidates on this panel to say that they want to take more power away from the people. I do not support limiting campaign contributions from individuals. It is our individual right and our freedom of speech that's protected with being able to fund candidates that we support. What I do support is limiting the campaign contributions of party leaders, of special interest groups, anybody doing business with the state. But this country was not based on the principles of limiting any one person's right to fund a campaign. Having said that, I think it's the utmost hypocrisy to say that you support campaign limits and yet take large contributions. Any law limiting the free speech of any one individual being able to contribute to a campaign only strengthens the incumbents in any race. It strengthens the party officials, and it takes away the power from every average American being able to run for office. If I have a very nice friend that does not do any business with the state, is not a part of a special interest group, and quite frankly just believes in my message and wants to give me a nice check, he should be able to do that. And that offer is open to anybody watching right now. Having said that, I think pledges are very important. They put things in writing. There's no wiggle room. I have pledged to signing the Transparency Pledge from the Illinois Policy Institute to make transparent policies in the legislature. I have pledged to oppose any and all tax increases, not just some of them, all of them. And I think it shows people where my sincerity is. Putting things in writing doesn't give you an out later on in the future to be able to hem and haw and say that this time is different. Again, our Republican leadership has abandoned that principle. They're going along with Democrats, raising taxes, raising the spending, and I will put an end to that. I think we need to get real for a second that we live in one of the most corrupt states in the country. And whereas the idea of drawing independent boundaries by a nonpartisan, in quotes, commission is very appealing, the idea that these nonpartisan organizations aren't appointed by the same politicians that draw them now, I think is a little naive. I do support the idea of keeping redistricting in the legislature, and I would support some sort of system to make that a little bit more, I guess, more rigid as to how they draw those boundaries, making them more squarish, if you will, and less odd-shaped. But the idea that we can trust Springfield to appoint these nonpartisan groups and act in the best interest of the people, I think, is flawed.